Okay, so purpose of this video is I was camping. My recent road trip cost a little more than I wanted it to, but that's all right. It was worth it. Went out, got the boy, brought him back to Kansas. The purpose of this video is my buddy asked me, shout out Rob, my buddy asked me, do you have a grip that you use on the Glock? And I do. I have a grip that I use on most handguns. Today, I'm only really bringing out the Glocks. I have other handguns I could show this on. Revolvers, M9, G19, G26, G17, you name it. Browning high power, I use this grip. I did not make this grip up myself. I read this in an article by Jeff Cooper talking about how he grips a handgun. And I'm going to tell you, Jeff Cooper was the shiznit back in the 70s and 80s. There is better stuff, okay? There's better stuff now that's better. I read this article, it caught my attention. I can't find it again, and I really wish I could, because the way it was worded was exemplary. It was fantastic for a guy who goes out and does. This guy could write. And I have a scout rifle. He was a big proponent of the scout rifle. He was the inventor of the scout rifle idea. My scout rifle is not technically truly a scout rifle. It doesn't matter. It does what I needed to do in that role. I wish it was lighter. Doesn't matter. It's a gun I can take out to the range. I can practice heavy with, and it does basically what he was saying a scout rifle should do. I really love that idea. Other things that he said about, you know, that AK you just saw, about intermediate cartridge assault rifles, you know, that's not, because it's not fully auto, it doesn't have a selector. I've never wished it did, but I've had people come and tell me, I want a fully automatic MP5 to defend my house. I've told them, no, you don't. Really, you don't. Because you have to practice that, and that means firing that, and that means feeding that, and I don't have the resources to feed that. If Uncle Sam wants to supply me with ammunition to feed my semi-automatic fully automatic submachine gun, I have no problem. I would be more than happy to spend taxpayer resources practicing and training. That's what the National Guard was originally meant to be. That's what the militia was originally meant to be. Any able-bodied male between the ages of 18 and 45. I'm a bit over 45 now, but anyway, you get the point. That's originally what it was. If you answered to a state entity, it was your state. It was not your federal government. The National Guard, to my estimation, is way out of proportion. Answering to the federal government is not a thing. What Florida is doing, bringing up a state militia, that's the way to do it. That's the way it should be. The federal government can piss off. You look at the retard in chief, that guy was a jackass before he ever got into any kind of authority. And now, here he is, you know, the president, the asterisk president. Fuck him, you know, and fuck you for voting for him. But anyway, let's cut that out. Political BS aside, you are the smallest minority, the individual, and you, no matter what you and I agree on, should be able to defend yourself, and you should be allowed to defend yourself. And honestly, whether it's allowed or not, it's a God-given right. You should defend yourself. So, brings us back around full circle. My buddy asked me, do you have a grip that works on the Glock? He has somebody in his life close family that is struggling with the Glock. Buddy, I understand. I totally do. I am not a Glock fanboy. I frigging hate these guns. I have hated them for years. I have despised them. I do not like them. I am a gun guy. I like deep blue. I love walnut. I love mahogany. I love a pretty gun. Well finished, well machined, hand fitted. I love it. Not you. The Colt Python, piece of shit. Too finely finished, too fragile. 1/3 of the writing surface on any of the internals. I don't like that gun. It's too fragile. I am also a bit of a Jew. I like stuff that works on the cheap. Really do. Boop. Okay, so I hate this grip angle. I am a 1911 guy. I should have brought one out. I didn't do that. The M9 and the M9A2, the M9A3, the M9A4 now have that stiffer grip. They're fatter. Oh, son of a gun. Mr. Ben, 1911. I like that grip. You can see, god dang it. As I line those slides up, you can see the grip difference. I don't mind these with a hump, but I don't care for it. I like that flat. There you go. You can see where your hand would go in. Okay. All right. That said, when you can see when you hold this gun, you can see a level down here, right? You can see the grip angle, and then I'm going to cut hard to, this is a fast jump, this grip angle. Again, level down here. You see that, right? When I pick one of these up, empty, right? When I pick one of these up, I want to do that. And really, I need to be doing that. I've been carrying those for years. Again, empty, right? When I bring this up, whoop, it's right there. The Glock wants to do this. This doesn't. It's just right there, okay? Because the grip angle is natural. It just feels good. So, but this isn't a video about the 1911 or the 92 versus the Glock. This is, thank you, Ben. This is about the Glock, okay? So my buddy asked me, is there a Glock grip that you use? And I will say this. As much as I don't like the trigger on these, as much as I don't like the grip angle on these, as much as I don't like plastic, okay? These are durable as heck. AF, durable AF, okay? And you can work yourself around all that. I learned in my 20s how to run industrial equipment from the 30s, the 50s, 60s, the 80s, and the 90s. I learned how to run industrial equipment, and I learned they designed that stuff to do a job. They didn't design that stuff to be comfortable to you. Industrial equipment, okay? They designed that stuff to do the job. And the point of the matter is do the job. Now you saw I brought that up and the bore was aligned, okay? The fact of the matter is, as uncomfortable as that might be, okay, it does the job. And the thing about this is, they say Glock perfection. It's not. There's some things you got to do to a Glock. I'll go into that in a second, a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, you need to tune yourself to the tool that you've been given, because the job needs to get done. Where's the AK? Because the job needs to get done. It's got nothing to do with whether or not I get along with this piece of equipment. It's got to do with the job needs to get done. And how God dang it, I get that job done. How I get that job done doesn't really matter as long as I get the job done. So there's nearly 15 minutes. And here's how we get that job done. Buddy asked specifically, is there a grip you use for the Glock? Yes, there's a grip I use for my Glock. I use it for my 92. I use it for my revolvers. I use it for a lot of things. I modify it slightly depending on what I'm doing today, what tool I'm using, what job I need to get done dictates which tool I'm using. Which tool I'm using dictates how I do this. But what I'm going to give you right now is the basic grip that I use. You use what you use. You can modify this accordingly. There are guys who use different things. I'll go over that a little bit. But this is a good starter. This is a good basic intro. This is how I do it, okay? And this is how I do it. So here we go. Okay, so again, this is the Glock 19. In the Glock 19, I have the tritium sights. I have the butt plug. I use the Aerotek, A-E-R-O-T-E-K, Aerotek. I use the Aerotek slide extension, and it's worth the money. This is well worth the money. The one the Glock uses is a little, almost that long, and then it's got a little triangle. I don't care. This is comfortable. I like it. Should you do that, or should you do that? It's good to have options. You should be able to do both. I typically do that, and that is why I have that. So you should be able to do that. I typically carry my Glock 26, which is smaller than this, Israeli style, no round in the chamber. 10-round magazine. I pull up, and as I'm coming up, I do that, and then I grip the gun and go. Okay, that's what I do. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm saying that's what I do. This gun, the holsters I use for it, when I use a holster, they cover the trigger. That's why I carry this gun with a round in the chamber. I don't carry the Israeli. I have the safety of a trigger guard, okay? I don't have that with my 26. It has the clip guard. I'm not gonna go grab that gun, sorry. This is friggin' awesome. I'm gonna cut the feed lips off of one of these. I have a bunch of these. I have like 8 of them. And I'm gonna stuff a cleaning kit in there. Take the magazine out, the spring out, the follower, cut the feeding lips off of it, and it's just gonna have a cleaning kit. A little bit of oil, a toothbrush, copper bristle toothbrush, a boar snake, and a little bit of oil to keep the gun running, okay? That was another one I saw where they ran one of these Glocks for 250,000 rounds, cleaned the bore, and then went ahead and ran it another 250,000 rounds. It didn't need that much maintenance. So anyway, Glock, what are you talking about, John? That's a carbine you have. It is a carbine, and okay, it is a carbine, and I really like it. I've got this all zeroed in, but in reality, this is a Gen 5 Glock 17. So, brought this gun out, no magazine, no rounds in the chamber, right? Ambidextrous, Huh? Ambidextrous, Glock 17 Gen 5. Really like this gun, a little bit flared magwell. You can see I put the butt plug in it. It's in that carbine kit, so I have not replaced the slides. These will do as backups. I have not changed the trigger. So full 5.5 pound trigger pull. And then I believe, yeah, this is the original plastic, but it is a 2-piece. There's 2 springs. There's 2 springs in there, okay? And then this just sets kind of down. That's something that the original Glocks didn't do. Oh, well, maybe not. I don't know. If it does, I don't give a shit. I don't, it's, you know. So, anyway, again, we're 20 minutes deep almost. Glock 19, excuse me. Gen 5 Glock 17. So the question is, do you have a grip that you use on the Glock? 20 minutes in, I'm bullshitting and telling you. Here we go. Yes, I do. This is quite a shocker. This is my grip on my Glock. Okay? That's my grip on my Glock. I started to do this on a video. I was in a campsite. There's people watching. I shot this like 3 times. It took 5 minutes. People were looking at me like, what the? Guy across the way going. Guy right next to me, and I mean like a few feet away, a Russian dude. Like, and he was on his selfie stick doing a video call, but whatever. Anyway, this is the thing. These two, this thumb should lay over. And I didn't get this on my own, okay? You gotta understand this. I didn't make this up. I didn't get this on my own. I got this out of an article in Guns and Ammo or whatever it was from Jeff Cooper. I'm sure there's better ways to do this, but this is a good starting point. And he says, you modify this however you want. This is the way I do it. This is the way I do it. You modify it however you want. Everybody's hand is different. Everybody's built differently. So you do what you do. This is the way I do it. So here I'm giving you what I read. I went out, I printed it. I put it on my BlackBerry. At the time I had a BlackBerry. Put it on my BlackBerry, I went to the range with a 1911, and I did it. The best results I've got out of this so far were with a 92 FS, an M9, okay? I can hit, or I could hit back then with this grip, I could hit a plow disc about a man's chest wide, okay? I could hit a plow disc 10 out of 10 times without sweating it out of my M9, my 92 FS. And I used this grip to do it. So this finger should go over this finger, okay? You're gonna cover that fingernail just a bit. This is going where it should be anyway on any firearm. Safety, okay? These fingers, if they are interfering with this grip, they are interfering with that grip, okay? These fingers are just there. They're just there. They're just there, okay? I'm gonna bring this hand into play. These 2 fingers are all that should be involved, okay? And when I say that, I mean that. These fingers are gonna be involved because we're not having a cup of British tea, all right? These fingers are all that are involved. And this finger, this knuckle, is gonna go over this knuckle, okay? Pivot, 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 right? And this finger is gonna go this knuckle over that knuckle. And you're gonna see that these 2 are working together. So this is my grip, okay? And this is supporting it. Sorry. And that's it. Everything else is just laid in there, okay? On the Glocks, this is difficult because this hole is small. It's very small. It's 1911 small. Beretta 92 FS, M9, a lot bigger trigger guard. Gloves, going to be way easier, okay? So I'm pulling that in and I'm putting that in, okay? That's the thing. That's what it's going to look like. Now, you can put a little bit of pressure from the palm, okay, and the palm on the back of this. Again, this is Glock specific. 92FS is going to help a little bit. M9, 1911, not really going to be that big of a deal, but on the Glock, especially on the larger Glocks, it's going to be a big deal. Again, same grip, okay? You're talking about putting a little bit of pressure on this to dampen. But really and truly, when I bring this gun up, what I'm looking at is this, excuse me, this on this. We're talking this knuckle on this knuckle, right by the trigger guard, okay? And this knuckle on this knuckle, right there. That's going to be the grip that you use. That's going to do several things. One, that's going to allow the gun, even one-handed, it's going to allow it to rock a little bit. You don't need an iron grip on this. The bullet is like that far in front of the muzzle before this gun starts to recoil. Glock high speed. Search that in YouTube. Go look at those videos. You'll see what I'm talking about. The bullet's going to come out before the slide. These are delayed blowback. Before the slide starts to rock back, before this barrel starts to move up. And I don't know if you saw that. Slow the video down. Okay? That barrel does dip down in the back. It's just the way it works, okay? So, before that bullet leaves the muzzle, the gun doesn't move at all. You can see that on the high speeds. The bullet's out to like here. That's when everything starts to happen. Delayed blowback, okay? That's the way these work. So, it doesn't matter if you've got a Glock 19 or a Glock 17 or a Glock 26. This, shocker, is what holds the gun, okay? The gun's gonna move a little bit. It's just gonna happen. That's gonna happen anyway. I know one guy that's a better shot than me, out to distance. He vice grips this. His biceps are as big as my thighs, okay? Dude's massive. If you can do that, do that. Don't do this. This is a good starting point. If you're a regular sized human being, this is going to work for you. That is the grip. Lay it in. Hold it. Lay it in. And the most important thing is dry fire practice. That means there's nothing in the chamber, right? You pull the gun up, and here's the big deal. I'm going to line this up instead of looking at you. Okay? Here's the big deal. That's the trigger pull. You notice the gun didn't move. If you are laying your finger in like this, okay, when you pull that trigger, you're going to pull the gun. If you're putting your finger in like this, when you push the trigger, you're going to push the gun, okay? It's really important. You're going to pull it or you're going to push it. It's like hooking and slicing in golf. You hook it, it's going to come in because you hit it on the face of the club too far in. It's going to come in, it's going to spin, it's going to go in. You slice it, the face of the club is too far back, it's going to go out, okay? The trigger pull is the same way. And what I like, and this may vary for you, is right here on the pad when I grab the gun. Okay, I'm not in where I'm pulling it, and I'm not out where I'm pushing it. Okay, I'm not pulling it, I'm not pushing it. I'm right in the middle. So, find a spot on the wall, draw a spot on the wall, whatever you have to do. Sharpies are great, man. When you pull the gun up, when you pull the trigger back, that front sight, And they will teach you in the schools, front sight press, front sight press, front sight press. When you line the sights up, okay, it's good to have them lined up, but you're going to focus on that front sight last. And when you press the trigger, it shouldn't move, okay? You saw how empty that was. Yeah, I'm pointing a gun at myself. Go fuck yourself. If you can't handle shit, don't handle shit. Lay down and die. F you, okay? So, front sight press, front sight press, front sight press. You're going to press the trigger through the breaking point. And the most important thing is, when you snap that trigger, where's the dot? There it is. When you snap that trigger, that gun should not move. You dry fire practice that enough, okay? And I don't care what gun you use or how many rounds you have in it, you practice that enough, and that's gonna do it. No movement in the front sight. So there you go. There's the grip I use on the Glocks. I hope that's helpful. I'm sorry the video was so long. It's a little over 30 minutes. You know, suck it up. Or don't watch, you know. That's the deal. And it really, I can't stress enough. Let me have that AK. I can't stress enough the gun being built to you. And yes, I built this gun the way I wanted it. The gun being built to you is not anywhere near as important as you picking up the tool and training yourself to adapt to whatever it needs, so that the two of you together can achieve the goal that you're after. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, God, I hope it's going good for you. If it's not, I sure hope and pray you're able to make it go good for you. You guys have a good one. I'll catch you on the next one. Damn, how the fuck did I turn a 5-minute video into a 35-minute video?